Yeah, hi everyone, Jason here, Robot Lawnmowers Australia. Today we're out at Woodford Golf Course and we're going to do a bit of a basic overview of the entire installation and the course and show you guys essentially how Woodford's been set up. We have two Husqvarna CEORA automowers here, the 546 models with the low cut decks on them. There's two of them here and they're mowing all 18 fairways with that. So we'll take you through the installation, the antenna setup, and a few other bits and pieces and show you the finish of the cut and all that sort of stuff. Right through the whole thing, and we'll also catch up with the superintendent of the golf course, Aaron, and we'll have a chat with him about how he's experienced the robots for the first 6 months. We're here with Aaron Walsh, the superintendent here at Woodford. Thanks for giving us your time, Aaron.
No problem.
6 months on. So we've had the robots here for 6 months. They just had their 6 monthly service only just a couple of weeks ago. Yep. With everything that you've experienced so far, what do you think is the best advantage of having the robot mowers here on the site?
The best advantage is that they definitely save us a lot of time, man hours, so we can spend more time doing other jobs around the course and improve the golf course.
Yep.
The other thing is they do an amazing job mowing. The nice straight lines all the time.
Yep.
Shapes of the fairways stay the same all the time because they just follow the same cut every time they go out.
Keeps that nice crisp edge all the time.
Yep. So everything, the definition of the fairways look amazing at the moment. Yep. So that's really good as well.
Yep. You've got a fair few advantages out of mowing in the wet, or when it's been wet, I suppose.
Yes, because they're so small and lightweight, they can just keep going. Where your traditional mowers are probably too big and heavy and make more of a mess, bringing more mud up. Where these just keep going and it's been really handy.
Just keep going on, because I think after Cyclone Alfred, when everything was pretty much shut down and everything got really wet, you guys sort of ended up actually getting up and running relatively quickly.
Yes, we did.
After the cyclone, to the point I think that Dean mentioned that essentially you might have been almost the only golf club open for a week or two afterwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Just the fact that you were actually able to get out and actually get the fairways mowed and get them cleaned up and dried out and away you go again, which is which is a massive advantage.
Yeah, it is.
As far as time savings go, what sort of hours do you think you're actually saving on a weekly, monthly basis having these guys?
We were looking at a second fairways mower, like traditional style fairways mower, to mow the fairways to save a bit more time, because generally with the one mower it would take us up to 12 hours to mow all our fairways in a week.
Yep.
So with the two mowers, two guys, we could have probably cut that down to about, 5 hours a day of mowing fairways, which was 10 hours for a week, which is, when you look at it in man hours, it'll be in 20 man hours. So it'd save us basically 20 man hours a week at least, with that. But if we mowed them as much as these things do in a week, because these are going constantly 24 hours a day, they can mow up to 3-4 times a week. When you look at that, it's even more hours saved. 50
or 60 hours or something like that, whatever it might be.
Yep, that's it.
Which is great. And the machine time, obviously, the savings on maintenance on your real mower as it is.
There is a lot of savings, mate. Not just man hours. You also got your diesel savings, or petrol if you use petrol mowers. Your servicing, your sharpening, your ongoing maintenance on the machines. That's definitely saved a lot of time. These you give them a wash and
away they go again.
Send them back home, and then they go out, and when they're ready they go keep mowing.
I was mentioning to you earlier about roughly how much you sort of save sort of thing on the machines, and we're sort of looking at roughly something like 80% of the machine saving on those real mower machine times since before, when you had the robot.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's only because of the surrounds. Around your greens where these things aren't suitable really to mow.
Yeah, that's right. We still use our fairways mower on our surround areas to mow them, which is about 3 to 4 hours twice a week. We do that. So that's the only thing we really use it for now. The only other time is like where it's been too wet in an area that these can't even get in, then we have to let it grow, and then we end up going in with the fairways mower just to bring it back down to height.
That's right,
which is lucky to be 3 to 5%
that's right,
of the time we're using to do it now.
But it happens, that's right.
There's
always the case where the robot can't do the work, and you do have to go out there and mow it traditionally, however you were doing it before. On the term of maintenance, what's your daily, weekly, maintenance look like for the automowers?
We wash them as much as we can. Usually, most days we'll try to wash it. Sometimes it stretches out to 2 days every second day. check the blades each time we wash them, because you've got the deck up to wash them anyway, so you check your blades. And then probably every fortnight we'll change the blades.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, it's just it's probably about an hour and a half to wash and change the blades. We've got a spare set of discs now, so we just take the old discs off, put the new discs on, and then change the blades over on the old disc when we need.
And they obviously just, the advantage that with the auto mowers is that when you have that maintenance point set up, you just literally just tell them to you just tell them to go to the wash bay.
That's right. We don't have to chase them; they come to us.
They just come to you, and away you go and wash them. So that really is great. So. Yeah, look, I know your overall thoughts, like really, it almost goes back to the first question really, but your overall thoughts are still pretty positive after 6 months of having these guys on the ground?
Oh, definitely. And they're getting easier all the time, because we're getting used to them being out there. We're getting used how to maintain them. We're getting used to, areas that we could work on to make them more efficient. And it's just, they've definitely been a big win for us.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's from what we've seen, it's sort of transformed the place a bit. But we obviously had a very good growing season, which probably helped a lot.
Plenty of rain, which has helped with growth.
But overall quality of the fairways, do you think it's actually has it impacted that quality in a positive way?
Definitely, because they mow more frequently than what we could with the traditional mowers. We're getting a much tighter surface, much more leaf on the ground, and that means the ball gives you a much better lie for the ball, and just a much better surface to play off, basically.
And the golfers love it, I suppose.
The golfers are loving them. They're intrigued by them. You always see them watching them and asking a lot of questions about them.
Exactly right. Yeah, no, it's good. If I can corner a couple a day, I might ask them some questions. We'll see how we go. All right. Well, that's great, thanks very much for taking some time out of your day.
No problem.
I know you've still got plenty to do.
Yeah, always got something
always got plenty to do.
That's it.
And we'll just keep going, and hopefully in the future we can start bringing out some of the newer machines, the all-wheel drive 535 EPOS for doing the sloped areas around your tees and surrounds and things like that.
Definitely interested in looking in that.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's the 580 coming as well, which is the higher powered, smaller mower that can do fairways but can also do the rough fairly efficiently. So we'll hopefully get those out here for trial when they're available.
Awesome.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Jason. See you, mate.
Okay, so we're here actually with the charging station on one of the units. So like I said, there's 2 units on this course. This one here is up near the actual main office out here. The robot's actually just about to head out and start working now, so it's just left, I think. I don't think it's going to go home at the moment. Let me have a quick look here. No, it is going to go home. It's okay. So it's going to charge itself up here, and then we'll send it back out afterwards. So the guys here at Woodford actually built this little concrete slab for them as well. So it's about 2 meters across and about 4 meters long thereabouts. And they put this in enclosure at the top. So enclosures over the top of these guys is perfectly okay. Ideally, you want to have something that still has a satellite signal, something that satellite signal can still pass through, like this guy can. So they built it out of this laser light on top here that allows the GPS satellites to actually, or the GNSS satellites signal to pass through there, and so the robot still has its signal when it's on the charger. It's not a problem if it didn't have that. It could work it without its GNSS signal on the charger. It just means that when it reverses out here before it goes mowing, it'll sit here for some time before it actually goes out, before it starts mowing, because it'll want to reconnect to the satellites. Whereas when it's on the charger, it's already connected. It'll reduce the amount of time it sits and waits for satellites if you've got a bit of laser light at the top. The size of this enclosure at the top here is it's great, it's fantastic actually, but it doesn't need to be quite this big. It could be probably a foot smaller on each side. You still do need a bit of clearance around the robot, but in most terms, it's really is a really good cover. So this is the charging stations, and like I said, we've got 2 of them on here, but they're separated. There's one on each side of the golf course here to minimise the amount of time the robot spends travelling out to the fairways. Okay guys, so we're actually out on, this is actually the bottom of 6, I think, 6 fairway, in the front 9 here at Woodford. So basically the mowers here are set up into 2 sort of distinct areas, basically the front 9 and the back 9. It's not quite exactly right because 8 is actually done by one of the other by the mower in the back 18, and fairway 18 is actually done by the mower that does this side. But there, look, we've got essentially 9 fairways for each robot that they're mowing. The total space of that is around about that 35,000 square metres, so 3.5 hectares of fairways. One of the biggest advantages that you really get out of the robot mowers is just how accurate you can actually get the edge of your fairways onto your rough or your semi-rough, depending on what you have. But you can see here behind me that the edge here is really, really crisp because the robot just goes down exactly the same path every single time. So yeah, so I had to move out of the way, obviously. We were just about to get sconned by a golf ball. So the map of the front 9, I'll throw up on the screen here so you can see it. So essentially this rollout's looking after fairway 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then fairway 18 it looks after. So like I said, it's about a total of around about sort of 35,000 square meters thereabouts. And the robots really need to mow, essentially they need to finish the job every 48 hours, which they easily do that. But in some cases they actually really need to finish a bit quicker. So when the grass is really growing really fast, then you really have issues with the robots not being able to keep up. So on occasion we need to run the robots even more to try and make sure that they actually mow even more often. And if we do get caught out, very occasionally we can get caught out where we need to actually run them 24/7. Okay, so right behind me here is the main antenna. So this is our base antenna. So this is the actual reference point that all the maps that are in the robots actually reference from. So this antenna here is the main reference point. It cannot be moved. So once this reference point is put into location, if this reference point moves, all the maps actually move with the reference point. So the only critical thing about an installation for robot mowers in general, for RTK-driven robot lawnmowers, is the reference station where it goes. So you want to put it in a location where it is not likely going to move, and it is absolutely critical that that antenna is in a location where it can see as much of the sky as possible, and preferably 360 degrees and all the way down to the horizon. Now, we're not quite achieving that here. We're close because it is up quite high. I believe it's about six meters up, that antenna. So it's just high enough to see. There's only the tops of the trees that are actually interfering with its line of view to the sky, but particularly critical on a golf course such as an installation like this, where you want that antenna, that reference antenna, to be in the best place possible, and obviously it needs continuous power as well. And for the reference stations that we've got elsewhere, which are actually repeaters, they're not reference stations, they're actually just the same antenna but they're used as a repeater to repeat the signal. They're actually set up on solar systems, and we'll show you that in the next clip. So behind me here is one of our repeater stations. So essentially it's the same RTK antenna or reference station antenna, but we set it into a repeater mode so that it just takes the signal from the reference station that is the main reference point, and then it repeats that signal out. So I'll put another map up on the screen here just to show you the radius of what we get out of the antennas here, because originally we installed the main antenna and 3 repeaters to cover the entire course, and that worked 99.9%. It was almost completely. But what we found, and we'll take a very quick video over there in a second, but what we found was that on the backside of some of the hills, the radio signal wasn't as strong as we'd like it to be, and the robot was pausing for a few seconds here and there. It was sort of pausing, waiting for satellites, and then continue on. Sometimes it would pause for up to 2, 3, 4 minutes, and very occasionally it actually paused for 10 or 20 minutes, so it was losing mowing time basically. So the next scene we'll show you on this one is the extra repeater station we put in. Okay, so we are now down on the corner of 16, this is 16, fairway 16. This is the extra repeater we had to put in. So on the map I'll show you right now, you can see that we've actually added this extra one in now. And that was just pure and simply just to get that little bit of extra range. It was working really, really well. It just was, the robot was stopping just occasionally, and it was right down there on the very far side of 13. It was stopping a little bit. And also, if we turn back around here, basically up on this hill here, on 14 and 15 out here, it was just on the back side of the hill, and I'll show you on a heat map what it was actually doing. But it was just a little section there that there's an antenna that's only about 100 meters that way. There's an antenna about 100 meters that way, and there's another antenna about 300 meters that way. It was just in a location that just allowed the robot or the signal just to be a little bit weak on the back side of the hill. And it's something that we come across a bit, and it's something that we analyse as we go along, and we fix up as we go. But yeah, we ended up having to put a 5th antenna in here, just simply to fix up that little bit of lost signal that we were getting on the very bottom of 13 and halfway down on the back side of 14 and 15. Okay, so we're now out on actually the practice fairway. So this is actually just the practice fairway at the very back end of the Woodford Golf Course. You can see behind me there, you can just see some faint striping in the grass. So we do get quite a few questions with particular sports fields and that sort of thing regards to the striping. And look, they do leave a striping effect, but it's just not a really strong striping effect. What you generally end up with is more is what you can sort of see out the side here, where it basically just sort of ends up just looking like carpet. Because everything is always maintained at exactly the same height all the time. And here at Woodford, it's around about 12 to 13 millimetres they keep their fairways. So everything around here is all cut with the CEORAs at around about that 12 or 13, sometimes 14 this time of year once it cools off up here. They might raise it up a little bit more, but you generally just end up with a fairly carpet-like finish with the CEORAs, or with any robot mower for that matter. And again, with the crisp lines, you can just see these lines behind me here. The crisp edges is probably one of the biggest benefits I see with these robotic mowers, because they're just going to leave that same edge. You're not leaving it to human error to accidentally overcut your edges or undercut them when you're cutting your edges in. Okay, so just to sort of show my point previously about the robot always going down the same lines over and over again and not worrying about that human error that can happen. We're actually on one of the tee blocks here at the moment, which the robots don't mow. The greenskeepers here still mow the tee blocks by hand or with their equipment, and you can see here that at some point the cut line was here, and then someone else has come through it later on. They've had about a 3 or 4 inch error there that's actually allowed the edges just not to be crisp. So that's what I mean about having those crisp lines. Again, we'll throw an image up here where you can see just how crisp the lines are when the robots actually look after it. Okay, so now we're actually down on actually fairway 13, which is actually the furthest point from the original reference station. Thought we'd show you at least a couple of shots of the robot actually working in the background this time. So we come and found the robot where it was working. And as you can see, it's mowing actually fairly short side. This is an L-shaped fairway. So on the far side over there, it was actually doing long lines up and down. Whereas behind me here, it's only going to do fairly short. So it'll take a little bit longer to do this section of the fairway versus the other section. But then next time when it comes out, it's going to mow in a different direction anyway, because we've got it set up to a diamond pattern. So it'll mow in this direction this time. Next time it comes out, it'll mow in that direction. And ends up doing a job like it is behind me. They really do a fantastic job. And quiet, as you can see, it just comes up behind you and works away, and you don't really have to stop talking. It's perfectly fine, and there's golfers golfing in the background. So no one has any issues actually playing around the machines as well, which is fantastic. They really don't get in the way very much at all. So the mapping of this one, so this does the back 8 and 9 holes, which is hole, let me think about this for a second. This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Is that right? 8. Oh gosh, I've almost forgotten. I think 9's done by the other machine, so it's 8. It's 8. It's 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18's done by the other one as well. Anyway, whatever it is, we'll throw them up here so you can actually see what it actually does. And again, it's around about half of the overall area that needs to be mowed, around that 35,000 square metres, and the machine can manage that in around about about 30, 36 hours is what it takes to actually mow that entire space. So again, we're trying to get that 48-hour thing covered all the time, and where possible, when you've got really high growth, we're actually looking to try and get that down to 24 to 36 hours for a full mow. One other thing worth touching on is the section we actually put on here about the antenna. Was actually down, this is actually the very corner, the very furthest point away where we actually did have some of the reception issues for the RTK network. So again, in that section I showed you the maps where you could actually see where it was actually weak. Well, this is actually the area where it was weak, and the robot was actually stopping occasionally just because it was just that little bit far away from the antenna network. Okay, so we'll wrap up our video here. I've got Dean Dagan with me here at the moment. He's actually the general manager of the course, who sort of implemented the CEORAs in the first place, so I got the ball rolling. So I thought I'd ask him a couple of questions while we're at it, I suppose. But I've already asked Aaron earlier today just about essentially machinery being used less and labour savings and all that sort of stuff. But from your management point of view, what's the benefits you've sort of seen for the course overall?
Well, yeah, the fairways are definitely better mown with the CEORAs than the traditional fairways mowers. So
yeah.
Hard to beat. Operationally, it shows up every day public holidays, Christmas Day.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have to do appraisals with it, Jason. It's always there. And the members tell me every single Saturday the course looks fantastic, and the fairways look great because of these mowers. Just that more regular mowing. Yeah, more regular mowing at essentially a higher cut, I think. I think it is higher than...
Yeah, okay, so it's, well, I think they're at 14, I think.
14, and
14
you know,
now,
traditionally we cut at 10 according to the previous, so
a
higher cut, more frequent, it's built up a thatch in the fairways, and
that
the lies are better, the sits up a little bit better.
Sitting up nice and high.
And the rain has helped, I guess, as well.
Exactly right. We had a very wet season, but on the flip side of that, and we spoke to Aaron in depth about that as well, was that, you know, with the rain, you can actually get out and mow the damn thing as quickly as possible. And I think, you can confirm this, but I think after Cyclone Alfred come through, I think you just about were almost the only golf course that was open.
Yeah, open, and we had our fairways mowing. I think the CEORAs were out nearly mowing the fairways during Alfred. Yeah,
pretty much, exactly right. So it just comes down to the fact that you're actually able to get more hours, you know, open for the course as well, which is obviously just, you know, from your point of view, that's money. That's where the business comes from.
Especially in a wet year, if you don't, as soon as it rains, if you don't have your fairways cut. As soon as possible after that rain comes, you can't open because the fairways are bogged.
That's right. They're too. The grass is too long and everything's wet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wet enough around here at the moment because we've obviously had, I don't know, 2 months of continuous rain.
Yeah, it's been never ending.
Whatever it is, so it's actually quite wet around here at the moment. But again, without the robots, you probably wouldn't be mowing some of these areas at all.
No,
so
not at all.
It's really been great.
We wouldn't have carts on. We wouldn't have golfers on. So
exactly right. So it's just been fantastic. So future of Woodford, I suppose, is my question for you. Because I know we're talking, sort of looking at the extra mowers that are coming out with Husqvarna. So we've got the 535 all-wheel drive EPOS and the 580s. So hopefully once we get those things available to test, we can get them out here and see what the benefit is and where that really sits. I know some of your board members and that are looking to try and automate as much as possible around the place here, including spraying and all that sort of stuff that you want to try and get as much automated as possible. Sweeping and brushing under the trees.
Yeah, we looked at those automatic bunker rakes too. So hopefully they get on the market soon. It'll be fun to see them, and as much cut autonomously as possible. Then it allows our staff to do more important things.
To do the more important things, and make everything look pretty and trim around the trees and all that sort of stuff.
And beautify the greens and bunkers and everything. So
exactly right. So look, thanks for a few minutes of your time.
Thanks, Jason.
We're going to wrap up this video altogether. Like always, everyone, if you've got any questions in Australia about commercial systems, robotic lawnmower systems, get in touch with us. You can email us at sales@robotlawnmowers.com.au. Check out our website at www.robotlawnmowers.com.au, and obviously check out our socials, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok anytime. We'll leave this video and I'll actually run a bit of drone footage that we've taken today, and we'll run a few minutes of drone footage just to wrap up the end of the video. Thanks for watching. So Skippy, what do you think of the robot lawnmowers? Yeah, okay. I think he's a little pissed off. He doesn't have anywhere near as much grass to eat on the fairways as he used to have.